Hello, I'm Denise, and I have your readings all ready, but I wanted to give you a heads up and let you know that you may want to check out the other readings that would cover your moon and your ascendant, as well as your sun. That way you have a bigger perspective over the opportunities coming your way for the month. Okay, let's get started. Okay, this reading is for the week of March 29th through April 4th. So we've got a couple, last days of March included here. And it's one of those months where there's literally just about 5 weeks. So I'm going to cover, you're going to get five readings for this month. And this week, this first week of the month, oh, by the way, and I'm using the Light Seers Tarot by Chris Ann. And I'll be using the same deck for the entire month. Okay, so this week, it looks to me like you're, with the theme here of the Two of Swords in the middle of the week, and also the theme for the entire week. This card is about decisions. It's about trying to make unbiased decisions, unbiased because that's why she has the blindfold on there. But then also it can be the challenge to make a decision, because the blindfold can also indicate that there's a place where, it's those times when we don't know yet what we want to, or what our decision will be, because we're trying to figure out what we want. And that's especially true here with the King of Wands. So that's a week. You can take a whole week to make the decisions that need to be made, but at some point you have to make the decision, because if you don't, a decision to not make a decision is still a decision, and that puts you in a position of not being in control. And when it comes to your own life, you want to be the master of your own destiny. You don't want to let other people dictate your reality for you. And because we have the Six of Pentacles towards the beginning of the week, which is actually the end of March, we're in that energy of giving and receiving. I see it as the fact that there's been the very real possibility that there's been so much giving and receiving going on, so many exchanges of energies and ideas and practical ways of being, that you're needing some time to go inside and just be alone. That's the Hermit indicates just being a little more reflective. It's a card of going inside, kind of like, if you're a guy, you can go to your man cave for a bit or take some naps. If you're a gal, you might have more meditation time than you normally do, more sleep. Dream time is definitely something to honor when this card comes up, because it's the card of knowing that your source is inside of you, knowing that the light that shines inside of each one of us is actually what guides us, and that's our it's our path in every lifetime to discover that inner light, to take that, take the lamp and realize that it's actually inside of us, and to honor your inner will, to honor the laws of love that live inside of each one of us. And, to love yourself in difficult times is always, a task. To love yourself and others as we're going through challenging times is always the best way to deal, right? And yeah, from there, it's just, I believe the larger message may be that the decision will always come when you think of how you're affecting others and how others are affecting you. This is the card of reciprocity here with the six of material, the material realm. You could call it the Six of Material. The Six of Resources, but so six is about exchanging energy, and then moving forward from the knowing that there's really no difference between giving and receiving, that when we're giving, we're also receiving, and when we're receiving, we're also in the energy of giving, because it's the pay it forward type of consciousness, and the joy that comes from, the contentment and the joy that comes from knowing that somebody is doing better because of you, or someone's happier because of you, and vice versa. It's the wonderful web of reality that we live in, that we're all interdependent upon each other. So that's something to always honor, that's inside of you. And then if you make your decisions based on how you affect others and how you're being affected, that can help you come more into the courage that may be needed towards the end of the week to not be in struggle. With the Five of Wands, now this is a card that can be really fun when it comes to games, in any type of like sports, where there's a little bit of competition, to get to the top. But in your personal lives and in your daily lives, like we don't want to be in the, that energy of trying to be on top, trying to be superior, because we're just going to fall down. Somebody else is going to climb on top. Sometimes you're at the bottom and sometimes you're at the top. And if that's just a fun game, then that's a whole different, experience. But on the deeper inner levels, the message for me is always to just struggle to keep my heart open. My only struggle should be to keep my heart open. You shouldn't, if you're moving through your daily life in a constant state of struggle, that means that you've overextended yourself. And sometimes the King of Wands can definitely be from that place of like, I've done all this, I'm doing everything, and everybody else needs to honor me for that. But if you honor yourself for the place where you don't need to struggle, if you honor your inner light and decide not to struggle anymore, then you can just naturally exude your inner warmth, your inner light, the strength within just naturally comes out. You're emanating it from who you really are. So the struggles are part of, living in a human body. It's can be very challenging to be human and take care of everything. But for me, when I've got too much struggling going on in my life, I know that I need to focus on what matters most and let go of the things that don't. And it helps me prioritize. So overextending yourself is not a good way to live for very long. It can be something that you do in an emergency situation. It can be something that you do for a short amount of time because you really have something you want to accomplish. But if you don't get the rest and self-reflection and the inner downtime, you're going to burn out. You're going to be burning candles at both ends. And it's going to get you, in the end. You're gonna need to balance it out, which, is what the beautiful Libras are all about, is about balancing out, and especially when it comes to relationship, being careful to not take on too much so that it doesn't put you into struggle, setting healthy boundaries, making those decisions that reflect on what keeps the giving, the reciprocity of the giving and receiving energy in balance. Okay? All right, I think that's all I have to say about this week. I'll be right back with the second week. Okay, this spread will cover April 5th through the 11th. And the theme for the week is the Seven of Wands. So that's the card that has to do with, taking a stand, protecting your space. It's, because it comes after the Six of Wands, which has to do with being recognized and, having some great achievement, or some, it can even be small achievement, but from that place of, working hard and, to get to something that you want to accomplish. And then from that place, you kind of have to protect it, or you protect yourself from outside influence that would disrupt you from the, the centered place that you're in, where it's good to remain. So that's the theme for the entire week. The cards are wonderful. In the beginning of the week, So maybe Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. We have the opportunity to be more sensitive, to have some fun with loved ones. With partners, it can be a little bit more romantic and just, all the gifts, the flowers, surprise flowers, or let's go on a picnic type of thing. Let's get out in nature, or let's just have some fun time in the backyard. The only challenge to this card, which could come up for some of you, would be to be careful about rescuing. To not, you don't have to be the knight in shining armor here. You don't have to ride in on your horse and rescue someone. Unless it's your job, unless it's a part of your job. And then, of course, you do that and you do it well. But flowing into the midweek here, we have the opportunity for new ideas. So it could be that you're just very open and sensitive, and you're moving forward in life being sensitive and vulnerable, which is a form of strength, I believe. And the courage it takes to be vulnerable and move through your life is a beautiful thing. But from that place, it helps you to open more into the beauty of life and the infinity, the infinite ways of communicating and being that will come through. Because you can't really be, you can't open to this level of aha moments and ideas and new ways of thinking. You can't open to that level of clarity without being a bit undefended. And that's where I believe the sensitivity comes from. If we're sensitive and vulnerable, we're open and undefended. But we know that we can always take a stand if we need to, right? We can always come into the Seven of Wands and energy and consciousness and set a boundary and take a stand if necessary. We can always put ourselves in a protective bubble if need be. But as a way of moving through life, just know that your clarity and your, the gifts of ideas that will drop in come from being open. So then, moving into the rest of the week, it's just, I love this card. I love getting the Temperance card in a reading. The only challenge, or if there is a downside to it, it would be that it's an opportunity to remain in a patient, sometimes limbo, in a patient stance of not knowing what's coming, but you're going to try and be patient with everyone in your life and be patient with yourself as you go through it. But in the realm of like spiritual laws, I see it as the law of mutuality, where when you're opening to your ideas and the yes current, and you want to ground that, you want to ground something that you're really passionate about or happy about, or something that some new way of being, in balance in your life, you come from that wanting it and knowing that you can have it, and you're the only one that can create it for you in your life. Of course, you can ask other people to help you, absolutely. But the entire universe, like notice the big wings here, the universe supports that inner knowing, that inner wisdom that you are the one that creates. You're the one that brings your spirit into your body with every breath and grounds it more and more onto the earth. So it's that as within, so without type of energy. And the soul substance that is transformed when we let go of, just any type of negative thinking and negative ways of moving through life. That it's a constant experience of transformation. There's there's the life force that flows through and is always trying to heal. It's all one energy current. So when you heal a negative aspect inside, when any of us do our inner work and heal something that's negative that we've been stuck in, then from that place, we have more energy. We have more life force flowing through us because whatever, the crusty negative ways of being are, they're healed, they're cleared, they're free. The energy is free to move through because it's, there's no obstacle there anymore. So that is pretty much, a beautiful way to move through life, is to, clear out the negativity and open up to more. And it's, it's just the way it works. There's no judgment about it. There's no there's no need to defend against it, because it's just a human experience that we're all having, where we need to be patient with each other and just work to clear out anything that is any place where you may say no to experiencing more love in your life. But back to the spiritual law of mutuality, we have the energy here of a yes current, right, that wants to come into your life, and you want it, right, and you want to bring it in. You're trying to bring it down into your life experience, and you're trying to remain balanced and stable. And then if it meets another yes current, then it is actually grounded upon the earth, because it opens up to the third, big third, part of the universe, where you have the universe at your beck and call to create what it is that you want, and it is bound by law to receive you. The universe is bound by law to receive all of us in all that we are. And so that's why it's an extremely important practice to be conscious of whatever's unconsciously blocking us from having what we want in our lives. And the more that we do that, the more we can clear it out, and then the energy flows freely. Okay, and that's how we create fulfillment in our lives. This is the wish card, the wishes that will be fulfilled. The Nine of Cups will bring you all that your heart desires, or the Nine of Cups energy and consciousness is what's in the universe that can bring you all of your heart's desires and help you excavate your buried treasure that's within. And then your light shines more freely. Like I was saying before, like, the scar tissue, the kind of like crusty substance that could be shrouding a person's core, right, can now shine freely. And it's also within the belief systems of the mind, but all of that can clear out and shine freely, and then you can be open. Then you're entirely open from that place to receive all the positive pleasure and all of the abundance, all of the love, all of just, the wonderful experiences that life can be. That it's yours to have. It's just, working on wherever you're blocking it is every human being's life task. Okay, I'll be right back with week 3. Okay, this spread will cover April 12th through the 18th. And it looks like it could be a little bit of a challenging week, but maybe not. You guys are going to have to leave, comments for me down in the comment section and let me know how it turned out for you. But what I'm seeing here is that the overall theme for the week will be to not rush, to take your time and slow down. That the more you can stay in your open-hearted, natural Libra place. Libra's, of course, all about relationship and open-hearted giving and receiving, and just wanting fairness and equality, and like, can't we just all get along, right? So can't we all just be good and nice to each other the way that we're supposed to be deep down inside? That place where that's who you really are, and you want the world to be that way. And then being that way in your own personal life, but then maybe your work situation or being out in the world makes you feel like you just want to scream, and you need to, somehow scream into a pillow or sing at the top of your lungs to some heavy metal or something. I don't know. Something to get it out. Something to not allow the heartbreak to overwhelm you. But, of course, we are going through heartbreaking times right now on a global level, and it's affecting us all. And the challenge is not to run away from it, not to try and avoid it, but to be in the energy of knowing that you take care of the most vulnerable. You honor the children and animals and all of nature that is young and dependent upon us. And from that place, you'll have, more of the open and giving heart, right? So it's about not avoiding the painful places, even if it brings you back into like challenging situations in your childhood. Sometimes this card relates to honoring the very, very challenging times. Like, like literally maybe you lost a dog that just broke your heart, and you'll never forget that. You're always going to love that dog, or dogs, of course. I mean, who hasn't lost more than one dog? Or cat, or any animal that you love. It does not have to be limited. It can be the fish in your tank. It can be the fish that you had in a tank. It can be anything. So anyway, to honor the love that you can receive in your heart and that you can give to others, put you into that energy where it can sometimes be overwhelming. It can be a lot of overwhelming love and compassion that comes through your heart. And then, again, my hope for you, my prayer for you is that you can take it in. You can take it in, and that you can be with it and allow it to hold you and carry you through those times where you feel like you just want to run away and scream, right? Or run away and yell at somebody. It's definitely the energy of just being with it. Just being with it. Breathe through it. Do your best to stay grounded. And, if you do have a dog or any love that's in your life, the physical connection that you can have with others, honoring that and being with that can help ground you. And again, just don't run away from the love. Don't run away from the love, even though it can be heartbreaking at some times. Okay? All right, I'll be right back with the fourth week. Okay, this spread will cover April 19th through the 25th. And I swear I shuffled the shellac out of this deck. And we have the Temperance card again. We are on a theme here. So again, it's about being in your patience, your ability to not go into, the deeper inner conflicts that may come up where you can be in like the winner versus loser type of situations, or those situations are coming up in the beginning of the week. The challenge is to stay in your intuitive, open-hearted place where you honor the sacred that's within every human being. Where you can be in your heart and you can just trust in the literal, flow of love in your life. With the Queen of Cups, she honors everything and everyone. She's open and vulnerable, and is okay with expressing the love she has for everyone. For those people in her life that are, with her, this is his or her. It's there's no real gender here, but it's possible sometimes that it's a woman that's in your life that is open and vulnerable, and it brings you into an inner conflict of do I dare be that that vulnerable. So the Five of Swords to me is the card of the dualistic conflicts that we can all get into. So I'll talk about that for a moment. When we're in duality, so we are unitive beings, and deep down inside in our core, we are unitive beings. We come from the realm of 100% love, 100% blissed out positive pleasure, where you can't even have a negative thought. Like that deep down in the core of every human being, I don't care how shrouded in darkness you may be in any lifetime, deep down in the core of who you are divine cosmic intelligence that's full of the laws of love and, has no darkness. But we bring in each lifetime, we bring in an aspect of like an egoic fragment that goes into the dualistic stance of comparing ourselves. We have this like inner compulsion to compare ourselves against others and compare ourselves with all the beauty and love that life can offer. And when we don't have that, or we haven't been able to manifest it yet in a certain area of our life or in any area of our life, we go into judgment that we are either good or bad, right or wrong, that life will be pleasure or pain, and that we are either winning or losing. And that's the dualistic life and death of each lifetime, life or death. We defend against the death of being seen less than or wrong. If we're going to defend against being bad or wrong or being in pain or losing anything, we're also going to defend against death. So the ego death that we want to go through, which doesn't mean you let go of your ego. Nobody can. You need a healthy. The challenge is to develop your ego enough to where it's healthy, so that you can always go into a position of pausing if you need to, a position of waiting. And you wait for the love to come before you express yourself. You don't need to control. You don't need to be the winner. You don't need to be the one that's right. You don't need to have the last word. So when we're in unitive consciousness, we're in the acceptance that life is good and bad. There's pleasure and pain. We can be right and wrong. We can win and lose. There's life and death, but really, it's just an ego death, because we never really die, I believe. We just transform, transition onto a different realm, and then have another lifetime if we need to, or if we feel called to because we want to. We can do it as many times as we want. So anyway, so to get back to the reading here, this week is about being in the love that you are and being patient with yourself. And I spoke so much about the Temperance card in the prior week, so the last spread or the one before, I can't remember now, but you can re-listen to that if you want, so I don't have to repeat this. But throughout the end of the week, if you can do that, if you can if you can create win-win situations and get out of the winner versus loser type of situations that may come up, that will create a beautiful opportunity to transform some soul substance within you. And then from there, you can move to smoother, calmer waters. For some of you, this may actually be the challenge, because this can be a travel card. It may be the challenge of literally having to travel, and what a challenging thing that is, and how it puts you in such a vulnerable position, and you're trying to stay balanced and calm and centered, getting through the situation of traveling home and getting back to work when you get home. Or this can be the Eight of Pentacles, can also be the attention to so many details to keep things going. it can very well be that. So you guys will have to let me know how this week played out for you. And I always come from the question I always drop in is, what are the opportunities for the week? So you'll have to let me know how the opportunities came through for you. But I truly see it as being, the need to stay balanced and patient, and sometimes waiting in faith. Waiting in faith here, and then. And then trusting that even though it's unknown, it's an unknown journey sometimes, or it's always, unknown, and we have, very little control over, we can only control how we respond to situations. We can't control the situation most of the time, So from there, it's about moving to calmer waters and knowing that you'll be okay. You're definitely going to be more than okay. In fact, you're going to be able to get home or get back to work or your home office, situation, and really get organized and face the next week with a much better, an easier time. Okay, I'll be right back with the next week. All right, this spread will cover the last week of April, the 26th, and may continue through to the couple first days of May through May 2nd. So this week, the opportunity will be to stay out of any type of deprivation consciousness, any type of feeling that there's never enough or there's not enough, that we experience what we believe, and we have a lot of, as human beings, we come in with a lot of wrong conclusions, false assumptions, false beliefs about the way life is and can be, and how we can receive in life. So with the Five of Pentacles as the theme for the week, I want you to focus on the fact that you have the key that can unlock any door, and that sometimes that means you just have to ask for help. And know that you're never alone, that even in those moments that you are alone and you feel lonely, you are surrounded by divine presence. You have every single human being on the planet comes in with spiritual guardians, protector guides, spiritual guides who protect and love us. And sometimes when we're taking on new projects or we're entering new phases in our development, in our human evolution, we'll gather a few new guides. Sometimes we'll lose some old guides and feel even more lonely, but the new ones are coming in, or the new ones are there, but the energy is so different that we can't feel them the same way as we can feel the old familiar. So the old familiar can keep you locked in vicious circles of feeling like you don't have. And the spiritual law around abundance means that you can't create abundance from lack. So if you're not feeling grateful for what you have, and you're not realizing that you're in a state of deprivation, then you'll just keep spinning in that circle of not, being in that inner conflict of not having enough. It's when you know that the universe will give you everything that you can open to, and all you have to do is believe that the universe is truly abundant. And all you have to do is look around and see how many billionaires there are on the planet. And we're in places where we're in the trillions. I don't even know what goes beyond that. You guys will have to fill me in there. But there is an infinite amount of abundance that can be experienced on planet Earth. And, of course, that you hail from a realm that is completely open and loving and utterly abundant. And that if you can bring that into your life and shine the light of who you really are, then you can honor a whole new way of being, a whole new, you can honor your call and clear out the the skeletons from the past. You can let go of what's dead in your life that doesn't need to be hashed through again. You can literally walk away from anything that keeps you from honoring your creations. So the beginning of the week, there may be some need to be patient with yourself. Be patient with all that you've been working on. It shows that there's been a lot of energy that's been invested. Whether it's I mean, even if it's money, then it still means it's also your time, because it took your time to make your money, or to receive the money. It took time. So to honor that, and to don't pull out the little sprouts too soon. You can't will it to happen. The only thing you can do is nurture it with your light and your love and your physical, you got to water the trees, right? Like the sun will always shine for you, but you've got to love it, and you've got to nurture it, and you've got to water, right? Like the ground is there to nurture it, the sun is there to nurture it. You have to water it with your love. And then whatever is not working in your life anymore, that's where you walk away. If you've given it your all, if you've given it your best, and it's just not happening, and you feel like you just don't have the gumption anymore to deal with it, whatever it is, you walk away. And it might be that you just walk away for a while, and it might be that you have to walk away and feel the pain of feeling alone, because you have put your all into it. But whatever it is, just hold fast to the inner light of who you really are, and know that you can always create anew. You can always move forward, and to the degree that we feel the painful past and process it through us, to that degree we are more open and completely free to really shine our light, and to really receive all the love and happiness that the universe has to bring to us. The sun is all about happiness and love. It's the highest energy card in the deck, and you can see that with all the yellow here. The yellow and green is healing, and then the red, the passion, the white light that emanates from all of us. So that's that's a really good thing to hold on to. The energy and consciousness of the sun card is just a beautiful thing to hold on to. And then and how interesting that the natural sequencing and the natural order, the divine order of the tarot, where the judgment card does come after the sun. So if we can truly inhabit who we are and shine our light into the universe, and be willing to give and receive each other's light, if we can give our light and be willing to receive the light that comes from others as being the divine light within, if we can see each other's divinity and see each other as a being, a light being, then we can move out of judgment, and we can free ourselves from anything that would have held us back. And we don't want to be held back. We don't want to hold ourselves back anymore. It's unnecessary. We don't need to stay in anything that's painful and and puts us in a place of deprivation. We need to let go. We need to forgive. We need to move on and open to who we really are, and then that heals everything. That heals everything. It's gone. And if we can do that, if we can go into the state of forgiveness, the natural card that would come after the judgment card is the world, and it's also you could say the universe, where you've come full circle. And so in the human evolution of any lifetime, a human really can do that. Like if you can always go into the state of forgiveness after you've processed the pain of the past, after you haven't stuffed anything down, like after you've gone through whatever you needed to go through in order to clear it out of you, then your light is free to shine. Then there's no judgment. There's never any need to attract it again. unless you need to go there, sometimes that's just the way it is. We spiral into another place that we need to clear out. But if we can always just keep forgiving, doesn't mean you forget that it happened. It doesn't mean that that it lets anyone else off the hook because they have their own, place where they need to make restitution within somehow, and forgiving themselves. And that's another thing to honor is forgiving ourselves for when we get ourselves in these painful situations, or maybe in situations where we were the one that hurt someone else. Maybe they're having to walk away from us, and we've invested a lot of energy into the relationship. There are all possibilities here. Again, that's where you guys are going to have to let me know how it played out for you. But in one human lifetime, you can go the furthest. That is, you can get the furthest that you need to go. You can accomplish the most by forgiveness, through constantly forgiving. But that means you process the pain of the past first, and then you forgive all parties involved, because if you've gone through it, if it was in your life and you've gone through it, you just have to trust that it was something that we needed to go through. It was something that you needed to go through. We all go through all forms. So there's never any judgment. It's just about clearing out and shining your light. Okay. All right. Well, that is it for the month. I'll be back with new videos for May in the last week of April. And if you like the videos, please literally like on the screen there. And if you have questions, please drop it into the comments section. And please subscribe and hit the little notification bell so that you don't miss the upcoming videos. Okay, take good care. Lots of love to you.